guys, welcome back to part 2 of my little How to Cosplay 101 series on making your face not look flat if you're not a natural color. So if you haven't watched part 1, it'll be linked in the description down below, unless I can figure out how to add it right here. Because if I can figure out how to add it right there, it'll be right there. Obviously I'm blue. So if you didn't see part 1, quick summary of what we did. We used Mayron wire activated paints in teal, sky, and light green to lay down a teal base, and then use the sky as a contour shade and the light green as a highlight shade. I like using tones rather than just black or white to contour and highlight, because I think it gives you a more natural look, and it's a little bit easier than having to figure out your balance and making sure your balance is the same every time. So I now have a full face of color. It looks not bad, but it's gonna look better. So it's really hot, as I mentioned in the first one. It is there's actually a heat advisory right now for where I live, and it is currently 88 degrees at least, and I live in an old Victorian house without central air. So one of the things I'm going to need to do is powder. You want a translucent setting powder. So I have the Mayron Color Set translucent setting powder. It's kind of a mess. You have to be really gentle with it, but I'm going to start just patting that with this big fluffy powder brush all over my face, concentrating on the areas where I get oily. So what I'm doing is I'm going into the pot of powder and then over the lid and tapping off the excess, so that all that is left on my brush is just enough to help set my face. So you can see it starts off looking white, and then when we tap and dab, it sets in, and it's going to help to set down all this makeup and help it last all day long. I am going to try and do as much of this in real time as possible, so feel free to watch at 1.5 or 2 times speed. I did have a request from a cosplay group I'm in, shout out to the critters, to do things in real time. Because if you're not used to doing makeup, whether it is beauty or costume or SFX, sometimes you don't know how long this should be taking, and if you are just really bad at it, or if you just need to blend more. I would say when in doubt, blend more. So I'm going to switch to a bigger, fluffier brush to get more like the planes of my face. The brushes I'm using are mostly inexpensive brushes from Elf, NYX. These I got on the internet somewhere because I thought they were cute. Stuff from Marshall's, Wet n Wild, that kind of jazz. You don't want to spend too much on brushes that could potentially end up covered in latex and ruined, but you also don't want to skimp on them either, because brushes make a difference. And you can see there's a spot over here where this powder is sitting funny because my paint wasn't completely dry. So I'm going to try and blend that out. So also a quick recap of what contouring and highlighting is. Contouring is creating shadow or darkness to make a feature or a plane of the face or body recede. Highlighting is bringing light or brightness to make a plane or a feature come forward. One of the other things is about makeup like this is if it's not perfect, I don't worry too much, because real skin isn't perfect. And even though I shouldn't have worn a black top, even though we're maybe being something that is not real, we still want to kind of create an illusion of realness. So headbands out of control. One of the tools I highly recommend highly recommend, whether you're into beauty makeup, cosplay makeup, costume makeup, SFX makeup, is one of these. I got this one at Marshall's. It was a quarter of the price of the ones I sell at Ulta or Sephora, and it is one of those funky little open core sponges in a tin. And I use the lid for my glitter and my glitter glue. This can come out, I can wash it off, and it allows me to change colors without having to change brushes. So we're gonna start with some contouring. I think I'm gonna use, I've got this little like Z palette, and I think I'm gonna use this matte blue shade. You always wanna contour with matte colors. And I'm gonna start with just a little bit on the brush. So I went in, I kinda got some of my brush, tapped off the excess, and now here I go. Always blend your contour up. If you blend it down, you will drag down your face. Don't bring your contour all the way into the mouth. You want to stop at about mid-cheek area. And you can see I'm just kind of trying to create a straight line here. I like a more stylized contour, but again, depending on what kind of creature you are, that may affect how your contour looks. And play with different brushes too. Different shapes, different sizes, natural bristles, synthetic bristles. They're going to have different effects on different parts of the face and with different products. Synthetic bristles can be more resilient with a lot of the SFX stuff, but sometimes a natural bristle, especially for eye makeup, is really great to have. So again, I'm doing things in real time so you can see what I'm doing, what's going on. Keep in mind, you do need to let any creams or water activated paints set, dry, and then set them with powder if you want other powders to move smoothly on top of them. Where I got some weird splotchiness over here was because I just touched up my nose, and so it didn't dry completely when I went to put my powder over it. So again, I'm creating shadow. So I want my jawline to look more defined and less like I eat too much pizza. So I'm making shadows. The jaw contour is one of the ones that's going to look the craziest in real life. In pictures, a lot of times, contouring your jawline will look bomb, especially if you get like the right angle. But it can look real crazy in real life. Like if you guys saw this in real life, it looks like I just have like a blue streak across my chin. So I'm going to clean off this brush and just go in with a little bit of force too. Don't think you have to be delicate. Also, the further out you are on the brush, the more you can kind of move and adjust your pressure. If you're all the way down here, you don't have as much movement. So hold your brushes kind of more toward the edge and make sure your contour gets blended up and into the hairline. Same thing for highlights, any color you're adding. Okay? So that's a much stronger contour than we had with just the paint. And don't be afraid to go back and edit as well. So I noticed that this side didn't come as quite as far forward as the other one. So, I'm gonna fix that, and again, blend, contour, up. You can look at face charts of where and how to contour and highlight till the cows come home. However, you need to know what type of face shape you have and what type of face shape you want to achieve. So I have a heart-shaped face, meaning that my forehead area comes down and my chin is more tapered. So when I beauty makeup contour and highlight, I'm usually trying to diminish my forehead and kind of make my jawline a little bit more rounded and things like that. When I do SFX and character makeup, I like to accentuate that shape sometimes or just completely change it. So I've now also added some contour onto my forehead. And again, you can see that just creates some more dimension. And again, always blend into the hairline. To highlight, this is where I'm actually going to pull out highlighters. I don't need that. So there's a few different types of highlighters. Some of them are just matte, light versions of color. And then there are iridescent, there are metallic, there are glittery, there are not glittery. So again, this is a decision that you need to make for you and for your character. If your character is a male or more masculine character, you may just use a matte light shade. That could even be a matte white eyeshadow, which I don't know that I have one in front of me. Yeah, I do. You could even use a matte white eyeshadow to kind of highlight. So a matte white eyeshadow up here to kind of highlight things. Ooh, this brush is janky. I used it with latex. Yeah, so see, you can use a matte white eyeshadow to create some brightness and lift and bring forward portions of the face. You can also use a shimmery eyeshadow. You can also use a actual true highlight or a face powder. And again, we're going in real time, which is crazy for me. So for me, and for this character I am kind of creating, and I don't know who she is or what she is. We'll probably figure it out at the end once I start feeling her out. She's going to use a little bit of shimmer on top of those, just that little bits of white we added. So you can see, especially from the sides, under filming light, straight on, a lot of things look very flat. That's why a lot of beauty YouTubers like film like off to the side a little bit. So I'm going to come in with some highlight. I have some blue and some green based highlights. There are colors, there are just champagnes, pinks, golds, bronzes. Keep in mind your character's skin tone / your own skin tone sometimes. You can get some really great highlighters at the drugstore. You don't have to buy, the most expensive thing off Sephora. So like this one I really like for character makeup. This is actually the Alchemist palette from Kat Von D. Yes, I know. But it has 4 different color toned highlights. So this is really helpful for character makeup. But I do also have some really great drugstore kind of funky highlights. So this one is from Wet n Wild. This is from their Mermaid Midnight Moon mermaid collection, and this has like a green gold shift. But I also have Elf has some really great colored highlights. This is a purple and a pink combo. But Wet n Wild also does, you know, just your straight up gold and traditional highlight options as well. Maybelline Master Chrome highlights. This is the holographic shade. It is just a white shimmery highlight. And I'm actually think I'm going to use a little bit of this. It's got like a pink and purple reflect. So I'm going to use a little bit of this too because I like a lot of highlight. So even when I do character makeup, I tend to do a lot of highlight. And now we're going to actually put this one on as well. So again, in those places where I'm going to want to attract light, brightness. And again, a lot of this will depend on your character. Who are they? Is it, you know, an ogre? And so you're going to use matte colors, maybe a little muddy matte colors, kind of make the skin look a little sickly. Is it a mermaid? Is it a fairy? Is it a tiefling? Is it some kind of hell beast? You use different things. So this is how the face looks right now. You can see there's definitely some dimension. Ignore everything that's happening on my nose. I'm actually going to contour that just a little bit with some powder. But you can definitely use a combo of things to create the dimension you want. So where we went over in the last one, kind of how to contour the nose, I'm just doing the same thing, but with these powders. Use powders on top of water activated makeups. Don't try and use a cream because creams are wet. And wet things on top of things that you are trying to have be dry, it's not going to work as well. So I laid down some lines and I'm just kind of blending them out.
And I grab his hand, and with that I cast plane shift to wherever he is leading to go.
Okay. So this portion of the video, not as long and a little bit quicker, but there is a face that has been turned blue, contoured and highlighted. Next section, I'm gonna get the brows and the eyes and the lips done and add a few things that make it look more like a person. One of the things I think I will be adding will be fake freckles, because I know that that is often a question as well. So I will see you in part 3 of this Cosplay 101 blue face tutorial thing, probably not too long after this one goes up. In the meantime, have a great day, have a great night, and yeah, I'm watching Critical Role. I'm just gonna steal a line from Matt and just be like, how do you want to do this? Just do it. It's so fun.